Hey friends, the Catboy is back, and do I have an exciting video for you? If you clicked on the title, you would be surprised that this is in fact not clickbait. If you've been looking for ways to improve your in-game AQ3D experience, then look no further, because here are my top 100 tips for being successful at AdventureQuest 3. This video is sponsored by my lack of sleep and the fact that I play this game more than you do. Probably. I'm kidding. But if you find any of these tips useful or you enjoy my content, hit that like button to help others find this video, and a sub to the channel would be phenomenal. Also, I stream on Twitch about 2 to 3 times a week, so go follow me there too at twitch.tv/lagaq3d. Now, let's get into it. Because I like giving myself extra work, I will put a tip category and a summary on screen for each one of these tips. Let's begin. Tip number 1. When starting the game, make sure to choose the name that you want, as changing your name later on can be a hassle and cost dragon crystals. Tip number 2. Whether you're on PC or mobile, adjust your settings to best suit your playstyle. There are a lot of unique settings, and I recommend familiarizing yourself with these. Tip number 3. Want to know more about the game? Check out the AQ3D website, where they have all sorts of helpful information. Tip number 4. If there's been a game update, there is usually an accompanying post on their website. Give it a read to stay on top of the updates. Tip number 5. It's another tip related to the website. Read their terms of service. It might help you avoid getting muted or banned. Tip number 6. When farming rares or completing quests, always use the unscaled option for quick dungeon runs. Tip number 7. If you don't have a team or your friends are busy but you want to do dungeons, just join a public dungeon run on a populated server. Red. Tip number 8. Always use food buffs when grinding to increase grind efficiency. More on that later, because I need extra points. Tip number 9. When playing PvP, remember to play objectively, don't chase kills unnecessarily, and focus on getting captures. Tip number 10. Learning the PvP maps and practicing map awareness to keep track of your teammates and the enemy team can help you win matches. Tip number 11. Be a team player. Tip number 12. Doing daily tasks is a fast way of gaining XP at any level. Tip number 13. Doing daily quests is also a good way of gaining XP. A detailed list on this coming soon, maybe? Tip number 14. Finish all of your story quests before focusing on grinding XP or class ranks. Tip number 15. Level up fishing to catch better fish to be able to craft better fish-related food buffs. Tip number 16. Always keep an extra stack of potions in your inventory so you don't run out and die. Tip number 17. Do daily boss quests. Daily. Tip number 18. Join the official Artix Entertainment Discord from their website to keep up with in-game events or updates. Tip number 19. Rank all your classes to rank 10 to unlock all of your cross skills. Tip number 20. Explore maps to earn hidden titles. Tip number 21. Play around with different classes to understand how to use them better and use the correct class for situational dungeons or mobs. Tip number 22. Stemming from that point, tip number 22 is to use the right cross skill for situational dungeons or maps, as some are single target and some are AoE based. Tip number 23. Be a team player. It's probably on this list like one more time. Tip number 24. If you're a Guardian, make sure you grab all of these Q travel forms at the Guardian Tower. Tip number 25. Players with yellow names over their heads are game developers. Tip number 26. Players with blue names above their heads are game testers, or wiki. I don't have any pictures of those. Tip number 27. Players with dark orange names above their heads are game mods. Tip number 28. Use the big magnifying glass to search all your bank vaults at once. Tip number 29. Buy collections if you can afford them to save on bank space. Also because it's a deal and it works out much cheaper in the long run. Tip number 30. Tip 30 is to look at what classes counter other classes at PvP. For example, a good mage is a good counter for a berserker if they can achieve distance. Tip number 31. Learn the strengths of the different cross skills as they apply to PvP. Tip number 32. Learn which battle spells are right for your playstyle and your class. Please don't put recover on healer. Why? Tip number 33. The easiest class daily to complete is the Berserker daily. Do it unscaled. It also completes the daily dungeon run. Tip number 34. For a quick finish of the daily craft, craft a fish-related food item. Tip number 35. For an easy finish if you have 50 monster kills, head to the daily boss map and farm mobs with people that are there. Also complete your daily quest while you are at it. Tip number 36. If you are a free-to-play and you don't have the travel form, you can use pirate class tokens to purchase the one at Lolosia, or do the 7-day grind to get the wooden horse. You can also get seasonal travel forms like Cthulhu or the Cinder. Tip number 37. Grind battle gems from random adventures. You're going to want to craft these items at some point. Tip number 38. Use class XP boosts and XP boosts when grinding for increased grind efficiency, and these stack with the XP boosts from food buffs, so it's even more efficient. Tip number 39. Remember that consumable XP boosts do not boost XP given from quests, unfortunately. Tip number 40. Open your daily chests, and hopefully you get better items than I did. Tip number 41. Buy bank vaults to store more things. Tip number 42. Practice keeping at least 10 free inventory spaces in case random in-game events happen, because players like to have random in-game events and you can earn a lot of items in there, so you want to make sure you have the inventory space. Tip number 43. Always keep unique live event items, rewards like tokens, coins, blue ogre souls, medallions in your inventory in case a live event happen, because these, if you have them in your bank and it is a full map, or then you don't want to leave the map to go to a bank because you're not going to be able to get back in. Tip number 44. Purchase invisible gear from a net at Pointless Isle to hide your cosmetics. Tip number 45. Familiarize yourself with the skills of the different classes so you don't do what Lag did and say that his mage was out of mana. Tip number 46. Communicate with your teammates to establish who has what role in the party. Example, who will tank the mobs, who will CC, and when. Tip number 47. Experiment with different builds using different gear, and when we get build variety, this would be more relevant. It was relevant before the Scorpion raid, and kind of relevant now, but anyways. Tip number 48. If you have free time, and this is one of the most important tips, if you have free time and you're in game, offer to help someone level up or help them grind or do whatever they need, because a little can go a long way. Tip number 49. Most places become more active around server reset time, which is 12 midnight EST. If you can stay up till around then you have more of a chance to get into active queues for PvP, for the raid, or for whatever it is you are doing. Tip number 50. Partake in seasonal content because these items are seasonal and a year is a very long time to wait. Tip number 51. Parkour! Tip number 52. Join a guild if that's your thing. You can help people grind, you can help people level up, you can help people do whatever it is, just hang out and have fun. Tip number 53. When you are converting your capstones to infusion runes, make sure you click on the correct option so that you do not end up converting them into the wrong things. Tip number 54. If you experience a bug in-game, make sure to report it. I'm sure that the devs will make it easier to do so in future. Right, guys? Tip number 55.
So at Battle Feast, make sure to use the cooldown reset buff at A and C, so you can definitely have a better chance of winning the fight. It's really good for targeting tanks and DPS in general. It's definitely an advantage having two skeletons out at one time. You want to make sure that you pop your first skeleton and then afterwards you pick up the food again so that it actually resets your skeleton's cooldown, and then just have fun with that and go necro crazy.
Tip number 56. Don't 1v3 or more unless you're being a distraction and keeping them away from points you have already capped. Tip number 57. Don't leave matches. Please, don't leave your PvP matches. If you are losing, lose with honor. You still get rewards. Tip number 58. If you see Blaze in game, make sure you ooh at him. Tip number 59. If you see Relic in game, know that you're about to get wrecked. Tip number 60. Stay out of Boog's Tavern and Yelga's Inn at prime time if you value your sanity. Tip number 61. Never share your account information with anyone. It violates the terms of services. Please see tip number 5. Tip number 62. Practice good player etiquette, meaning you say GG after a dungeon or PvP match, thank players for playing, and thank people that summon player spawnables for summoning player spawnables. Tip number 63.
Hey, use the wiki.
It has information on pretty much anything you would ever want to know in the game, such as weapons, areas, resources, pets, with images, quests, and it is if you have any information of anything, it's there.
Tip number 64. Create a separate Twitter account to be used for AE game purposes, since apparently that is the medium they choose to communicate to us on. Tip number 65. If the red server is full, go to another server, then teleport to a friend that is on the red server using the go to function on your friends list. Tip number 66. Be a team player, please. Tip number 67. If you're a free-to-play player and you plan on joining giveaways for AP, make sure that you have your Artix account linked to your AQ3D account and you know how to redeem AP at portal.battlon.com. Tip number 68. If you can't parkour and you need to get over the Darkovia waterway, scream at the top of your fingertips for someone to open the portal. Tip number 69. Nice. Tip number 70. Use AQ3D.cc to find gear that is the right color for you. Tip number 71. Not much of a tip, but don't do Wolfwing solo. Doing it solo is possible, but it will make you scream. So will doing the Jin solo. Doing that took me around 40 minutes. Tip number 72. If you can do the Scorpion raid, make sure to do the Scorpion or Sun Fury dailies for maximum XP to get capstones much faster. Tip number 73. Red server is generally the most active server. If you can't find parties on whatever server you're on, consider swapping to red. If you can't find parties on red server, then error 404. Tip number 74. Sort your bank vaults before they become an absolute mess. Like mine. Tip number 75. Try to complete your quests on time, again, so it does not become a never-ending list or a mess like mine. Tip number 76. Always dancing. This is the best thing that has been added to the game since I started playing, honestly. Tip number 77. To get the... I'm not sure if I feel comfortable saying this. To get the fat boar... Guys, please change that name. To spawn at yokai, kill the kappa to the left of the gate, and he will spawn, and because he gives you unique drops to craft stuff over at the Shadow of the Wind village. Tip number 78. Use beef jerky from Lolosia to get an increase in your haste. Tip number 79. To avoid dying at Ryujin, get hit by the ice attack so that it protects you from the following nuke attack. Tip number 80. Subscribe to Goldraven, Helimod, Miss Virus, and Kuroko's YouTube channels for actual content. They're pretty good at this. They've been doing it for a very long while. They're consistent, and their content is amazing. So give them some support. They are the true MVPs. Tip number 81. When responding to tickets, remember that AE staff are people too, even when just giving general feedback. Common courtesy goes a long way. Tip number 82. Bomb fancy health pots at the Dreadful's Labyrinth thing if you are good at not getting lost. Tip number 83. At the pirate cabin, if you have dragon crystals to spare, you can purchase the black market goods for this quest to get the rewards. Tip number 84. Be kind always. You never know what someone may be going through at any point in time. Tip number 85. Watch lag streams on Twitch. Twitch.tv/lag AQ3D. Thank you. Tip number 86. Give lag money to help him feed his goats. Tip number 87. Stock up on snowballs at the Frostvale map to randomly throw them at your friends. You'll never see it coming. Tip number 88.
Did you know that using block and sitting makes it so you can sit while walking? Wait, does that even make any sense? Actually, I don't think that made any sense. Well, neither does how this works.
Tip number 89.
The PvP bounty zone is the no-no zone. Do not go there, please. Please capture objectives. It's not worth it. Just don't go to it. It's only 50 points. What do you expect that's going to happen? You're literally 200 points behind. Do you expect to win if you go and get it? No, you're just going to lose faster. Please do not get it. That's all I ask.
Tip number 90. Swiftcast does nothing on healer. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Tip number 91. Where is Gil? You're right here though. I did the quest already, so you can't see him on my screen. Tip number 92. Read your class passives. Dragon Slayers do extra damage against dragons. Paladin's Radiant Blade does extra damage against the undead. Tip number 93. Equip this scepter to pass through this wall here at the Hidden Tomb. And there's also one you can pass through at the Garfel's dungeon, but I cannot do the maze, so I can't show you. But good luck if you can. Tip number 94. Grind capstones because until the new saga comes out, and I hope it doesn't come out anytime soon, they are useful. Tip number 95. Jump equals pro. Why do we do this? Tip number 96. I cannot stress this enough. Don't be a creep. Don't harass other players. Don't be rude to people. It's just unnecessary. Tip number 97. If something doesn't load for you after a few minutes, most problems in this game can be solved by relogging. Tip number 98. Comment on this video if you like any of these tips or have tips of your own. Tip number 99. Straight from the AQ3D website. Get good. And tip 100. Make friends in game, hang out, have fun, and battle on. Until the next time, I am Lag. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.